Hello everyone, I'm your host Will Love, and today we will begin a two-part special with Marlyn Friedberg, owner of Friedberg Properties. We'll be taking an exclusive tour of two of Alpine's most unique residences, so fasten your seatbelts because it's going to be an interesting ride. Well, Marlyn, before we begin to take a tour of the homes, I would like to start off asking you about your career. How did you get started in real estate and become who you are today?
I started in real estate as just something extra to do. I took the real estate course, promised my husband I would not work full-time ever, and I loved what I was doing and started to work full-time. And so I was working for a company in Tenafly, which is now one of my offices, and after that, in '94, I started my own business.
Now, how many offices do you operate today?
There are 5 offices.
Locally?
There are 5 offices locally. You have Cresskill, Tenafly, Alpine, where we are right now, Rivervale was the last office, and that was opened in '06.
Now, what exactly goes on in Alpine that
differentiates it? Alpine has fewer houses than most towns because they have larger plots of land. In general, Alpine has 1 and 2 acre lots. In the early days, there were a few small neighborhoods with small plots of land, but today they're too small to really build a new house on.
Now, does the housing market in itself differ completely from other towns of its caliber?
It differs in that you can't price a home exactly from what has sold previously.
Right.
Because no 2 houses are the same, and no 2 insides are the same, and most of the homes were custom built. And so people put in their own custom touches.
Now, being as this is Alpine, I assume you've worked with a wide range of people. Mm-hmm. Now, are there any specific groups of people or clientele that stand out?
Well, they're not groups, but there are some well-known sports people here in town. There are several music people that live in town, and because of the convenience to New York City, it works for them, and the convenience down to the Meadowlands and the sports arenas.
Interesting. That makes sense. Yeah. Well, thank you again. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, and I'm looking forward to going inside the homes.
When we moved in, we were told by a number of old residents that this is the oldest house in Alpine. It is the de facto oldest house in Alpine. It's considered the oldest house in Alpine. However, what I've come to learn is that it's not exactly, we can't know which is the oldest. Actually, the oldest house in Alpine is the one at the foot of the Hudson River there.
The Kearney House.
Yeah.
But no one is living in it.
Right. But of the houses along Closter Dock Road and around it, this is one of them. They were all built around the same time period. It's hard to know. I was told it was built around 1800 or 1790. I don't think that's true. I believe it was built a little later, possibly as late as 1830.
Now, what are some of the most unique facets about the home?
Well, I think it's unique. It's not unique as an antique house. It has all the things antique houses have. And I should say antique farmhouses, because this is not an antique mansion. It was built as a farmhouse for people who worked the land around it. So the rooms are slightly small, the ceilings are low. It was built for people who are much shorter than we are now, and sometimes when really tall people come in here, they're rather uncomfortable. So, but what is unique about it is that it contains all of its original fireplaces, its original floors, its original plaster work. None of the walls have been broken through to create larger rooms, and all of its original windows are in. The man who built this house fancied himself relatively wealthy.
Yeah.
He was not poor.
Yeah, he paid attention to detail.
Yeah, he paid attention to some detail. However, most of the work on the mantels is very simple. It has pilasters that have some detail on them, but not the kind of detail that you would see in a mansion or a rich man's house.
Yeah.
We know that it was intended to be a dining room because the fireplaces have warming cabinets. One on the side. You would put your plates in there to keep them warm when you wanted to eat. And it has another one over here on the other side of the fireplace. I don't know what they used it for. But if you zoom in there, you can see what the original plaster walls look like. Yeah, you can see the time period. Yeah, you can see the original plaster because it's untouched.
Alpine's eldest estate sits on 1.3 professionally landscaped acres. Lovingly maintained and updated, this historic colonial features 4 bedrooms, 4 full bathrooms, and 4 original fireplaces. An original barn, which currently houses firewood, sits on the antique property. Inside, one will discover a large fireplace within the living room, as well as a subsequent loft area. Outdoors, a private pool prepped for entertainment and leisure awaits prospective purchasers.